First of all, congratulations on the movie. As I was saying a second ago, I saw it yesterday. It is a tight little thriller with some edge of your seat, really edge of your seat stuff. It was really cool to watch it with the audience, kind of freaking out. Was this one of these things where it's like that it came together super suddenly, or was this one of these things where you guys were like trying and twisting and turning to get the money to put it together?
It came together from sitting down to write it to it premiering at Sundance in a year, which is crazy.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
No, yeah.
You know, the script was so kind of ready to go, and I had a pretty small window because I was between season 2 and 3 of the following. So I said, look, let's do it. I'd like to do it now. You guys good? Let's go.
There wasn't a lot of time to think about it.
Yeah.
We just had to start.
Well, one of the things that I really like about the movie is that it doesn't do a lot of exposition that's not needed. There's not a lot of explanation, which unfortunately Hollywood manages to, they fucking fuck up a lot of stuff with that. Was that one of the things about the script that really drew you in? And was that one of these things that you made when you were writing to make sure, like, to sort of limit it?
Yeah, it was really intentional just to see how little we could do. To keep it interesting and to keep it moving and to not ever bother explaining more than we had to.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I love the idea that you can give an audience the benefit of the doubt, not only that they can figure things out, but also that they might enjoy the process of hypothesizing about things that they never really will know for sure, you know what I mean? I think that's a fine line to walk because sometimes people get frustrated, you know. And if you took something like Cop Car and you went through the normal testing process that a lot of films go through, certainly bigger films, you might run into a problem where people would say, I need to know what happens at the end. I need to know why that guy ends up in the trunk.
It'd be nice to know a little bit more about where these kids came from.
Sure. And you can get caught up in that, and you know, because I've been through it before. I've been through it on television series. I've been through it on movies tons of times. It can be a bit of a pitfall, and I like the fact that this is a movie where people lean in.
I'm very curious, from when you got the script to what you guys made, how much changed along the way, or was it one of these things where you stuck pretty close to it?
It's pretty close. We didn't change very much at all.
No. Even from the, you know, it's funny, when I look at the movie, I look at the scenes, and I say to myself, that's the way it's supposed to be shot and edited. Like, there's no other way. It's like sometimes you look and you say, there was a million ways that you could have cut that scene. And of course there are a million ways that you could have cut that scene. But when I look at Cop Car, I go, that's it. That's what was on the page. That's what's on the script. I don't see a lot of, there are options there, of course, but if they don't, it feels like that was the way it was supposed to be.
Well, it's nice. It was really my hometown. Like, that's where I grew up. Absolutely. I walked through those fields that those kids walked through. Kevin, when he's driving the car around, is basically driving the path that I would take to high school every day. So those images are like with you. They're like burned into your brain. So to be able to actually shoot in a place like that, I think it makes it a lot easier.
I have to ask, do you have a history with finding a cop car and in that area?
I think I always hoped that something like that would happen. You know, as a kid, you go with your friend wandering out in a field like that, hoping that you're going to stumble across some sort of adventure, like you're going to end up in the Goonies, or you're going to end up in the Explorers, you know, finding something and traveling to space, but you never really do. Once we found a tractor that had its keys still in it, but we turned it and it started to kick, and we got too scared and thought we were going to get in trouble in my home. So we were too chicken.
Honestly, that's probably what would have happened with me.
Yeah.
I'm very curious how long your first cut was versus what the final release is.
The first cut, I think maybe the first cut was a little bit shorter, and we realized, and then we realized that some of the suspense scenes we could stretch out even more, and then it just became like stretching everything to its breaking point. But for the most part, we stayed pretty close to the final cut.
It's interesting. I always hear about how my first cut was 2 hours and we cut it to 100 minutes.
Yeah, no,
but
the opposite.
It's very rare to hear it was a lot shorter and we added to it.
Yeah, there's nothing that was cut out.
I have more questions about the movie, but before I run out of time, I would like to actually play a game with the two of you that we've been playing on the site. As I said, we have a few different questions coming through. It's called Save or Kill. One of these things you can save. It's not hard, I promise. One of these things you can save. One of these erased from existence forever. What do you save? It's like a personality test.
Uh-oh.
For example, if I were to say Star Wars or Star Trek.
This really runs the risk of being very offensive to a lot of people.
I have played this game with about 20 different groups. Avengers the Terminator, like tons of people. And I think everyone accepts that some people like Star Wars more than Star Trek, or you'll see what comes up. If you want to skip one, I understand. But it's like a personality test of what do you like more.
There's too many kinds of Star Trek and too many parts of Star Wars to choose.
Yeah.
To evaluate. It's just like an overall thing.
Then I will ask you Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's a tough one.
By the way, I did lie. They were kind of tough, the questions.
I'd say Breaking Bad.
So there we go.
Breaking Bad what?
Save.
Yeah, I guess overall I would say Breaking Bad.
The Wire or Mad Men?
The Wire.
The Wire.
The Wire.
Sorry. Didn't mean to jump on that one so hard.
Yeah.
In Sync or the Backstreet Boys? Some of them are easier.
In Sync.
In Sync.
Zelda or Mario?
Zelda.
I don't game.
Okay. Han Solo or Indiana Jones?
Interesting.
Indiana Jones.
There was this who we're gonna say.
Yeah.
I think I'll go Han Solo.
The Beatles or Rolling Stones?
It was like freshman year of college.
Oh wow. Well, there's not that many Beatles left.
Yikes. You gotta say the Beatles.
Most people say the Beatles, but there are a lot of people that do say Rolling Stones.
Well, James Murphy always talks about how the Beatles were better because they were working class. They were real. The Rolling Stones were private school kids, yeah.
Like Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Oh, Lord of the Rings, I'd say.
Lord of the Rings.
Iron Man or Captain America? I like that. I'll go to you. Iron Man or Captain America?
I guess Iron Man.
This is specifically for the two of you. I came up with it just for you two. Twilight or 50 Shades of Grey? I'm totally joking about
Okay, I haven't seen either one.
Twilight.
Of course.
I could have skipped that one.
Right. This one is brutal, and I know you're both going to skip it, but I'll try anyway, because maybe one of you actually feels one way. Scorsese or Spielberg?
Ooh.
I do get answers on this one, but a lot of people who
Here's my problem with this question.
Sure. They're both amazing?
They're both on my bucket list of directors. I've not worked with either one of them. So on the off chance that this tape finds its way into their zone, I will pass on that question.
I accept that.
Oh, I can't dare.
You'll be skipping this one because it's DC or Marvel. And we already know what his answer is.
I guess Marvel, I'd say.
Back to the Future or Ghostbusters?
Back to the Future.
Oh, wow. I think Ghostbusters.
South Park or Family Guy?
South Park.
Yeah, South Park.
I'm from Colorado.
Okay. You never know. Alfred or Yoda?
Who's Alfred?
Batman. Alfred.
Oh, Alfred. Oh, from Batman. Alfred.
In terms of like wise.
Yeah, like the
Sort of sound,
person.
yeah.
Who, yeah, exactly.
Alfred.
I don't know.
You want to gander at one?
I like Michael Caine.
Okay, so I guess it's Alfred.
I guess.
Michael Jackson or Prince?
Prince.
I don't know.
Batman or Superman?
I like Batman.
Neither. Right?
I'll move off the game now. I'm very curious for both of you. When do you remember your first memory of saying, I want to make movies, or I want to be involved as an actor, or I want to do this with my life? Do you have something that hit you when you were a kid that you vividly remember?
We had a dollar theater around the corner from me, and it would run, second runs or whatever, but it was only $1. And I had already decided I was being an actor. I was already taking acting classes, and they ran in this order: Midnight Cowboy and The Graduate. And I looked at Midnight Cowboy and I went, wow, where did they find a homeless guy, and where did they find this cowboy? You know what I mean? And get him to show up every day.
Sure.
And then I saw The Graduate, and I looked at Dustin in that completely different role, and I went, oh, okay, that's what an actor is.
That's a very good story.
Mine's totally the opposite. I remember watching Ed Wood, the Tim Burton Ed Wood, and before that, movies just didn't seem like something you could do. And then when I saw the way they show Ed Wood making his terrible Z movies, I was like, I could do that. I could do something like that with my friends. Like, that seems easy. And suddenly it became this very approachable thing to try out. So we just started making our own. Inspired by Ed Wood, making our own like, really crappy low budget movies with my brother-in-law's video camera. That's where it started.
I'm curious for both of you how your process has changed, if at all, over the years. Is there a routine that you do for all your roles, the way you prepare for something, or has that changed at all? And I'm curious how maybe things have changed for you over the last few years.
I'm just getting started. I haven't had time to change or adapt yet.
I think that I've learned more and more that that homework is really essential. So I think that the amount of homework that I do has grown and grown and grown. I think when I was younger and thought I knew more, I would just say, oh yeah, I got this. I'll get it when I get there. Now I tend to really get a little bit more. I do more preparation.
I'm curious, when you have been in so many classic things, just so much, is there one role or one movie or one something that people always want to talk about when you're in line at Starbucks?
Not necessarily, although I would think that if you take Footloose out, because that's probably the one that comes up the most, the rest of it really falls across all sorts of cultural kind of divides, and also where geographically where you happen to be, if the difference between being in Fountain, Colorado, or being in the South Bronx is going to be a different kind of reaction.
I feel like in Colorado people would want to talk about Tremors.
Yeah, Tremors is really big in it's big in the heartland.
Make no mistake, I love that fucking movie.
It's so good.
The first Tremors I love it.
First PG-13 movie I ever saw. I had to call my mom and ask permission.
Is that true?
She said yes, yeah.
I really do love the first Tremors. It's I don't know if this is bad for me to say out loud. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine. But I really love the movie. Just being honest.
Don't feel guilty.
Okay, there we go. Because I do love it. Have to ask you, of course, something about Marvel, but I obviously know you can't talk about anything.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask this question. When did you find out that you had landed or been given the keys to the Ferrari?
I found out the day before it was announced. We had just screened Cop Car at BAM in Brooklyn, and I got the news. I was in the cab on the way to JFK, and I was getting the news from all the various people involved. Everyone was calling me and telling me, and the cab driver was just driving faster and faster, and started swerving between cars, and I was like, oh, I'm getting the best news ever, and I'm gonna die.
By the way, that's New York City cab drivers.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's never been in a cab since. It's been limousines ever since then.
I of course have to ask you about Black Mass because it's something I'm so excited for. What was that process like for you, and what can you tease people about it?
Well, I saw it about 2 weeks ago, and it's fantastic. I think it's a really, really fantastically directed and acted a fun movie. Johnny's amazing, and Joel is fantastic in it, and there's a lot of great performances in it. Makes you realize how hungry we are for a really good, big, fat gangster movie, and one that's true. So on top of everything else, you're like, oh my God, did this really happen in this way? I have a very small part, but I'm happy to be part of such a really, exciting ensemble.
For the Blu-ray eventual release of the movie, are you guys doing anything like a commentary? What can you tease people about what might be included?
You've been asked to do a commentary?
No, I haven't been asked to do a commentary.
Is this something that you want to do?
Well, I don't think we've gotten to the Blu-ray stage yet.
Yeah. I love talking about the movie.
Yeah. Sure, of course, yeah.
Well, no, sometimes there's many filmmakers that love talking about it and getting into the nitty-gritty, and then there's some that want to leave it to the imagination of the viewer, sort of like the way your script is, where there's a lot left.
We've actually decided for every theatrical screening of the film, we'll be live tweeting every single one.
I know Trey Parker and Matt Stone did a drink-along
Yes.
commentary for their for one of their films, which I think seems fun.
I have to wrap with the two of you, but I mean it sincerely. Congratulations on the movie. I
Thanks
hope
so
a lot
much.
of people tune in for it.
Yeah.
Whatever the right English is.
Thank
Let me
you.
hit stop.